What is up everyone, I'm Skratch, welcome to the channel. This is a Dragonheir Silent Gods video. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday. In today's video guys, we're gonna talk about the top 5 best AOE damage dealers from almost every rarity. I really wanted to include legendaries as well, but my god guys, there's so many good ones and I feel like it's so situational and it's so hard to just pick 5 out of them. So I'm gonna do the legendaries separately. So far I haven't really did a lot of videos on legendary champions, but by now I would assume the majority of you guys either pulled the legendary champion, either you still gotta be a bit patient because you're getting very close to it, you know, and hopefully you pull some awesome ones. The main idea with AOE damage dealers, they will help you in the Goblin Slayer. The Goblin Slayer will be probably the most farmed dungeon in the entire game because that's how we're getting our XP for the heroes. Now, of course, each one of the hero is dependable of a good build in order to put in some serious numbers, have a decent artifact, etc. But some of these heroes shine over others because they have better multipliers, they just have generally better skills, they might have multiple AoEs. You're gonna need AoE damage dealers for the tower defense battles that you might encounter just randomly scattered on the map. And of course, AoE damage dealers for the Pillar of Trials, where you're gonna encounter a lot of waves. Same for the fame in the right here, guys. You need to have AoE damage dealers. I'm pretty behind there, but I'm definitely working my way through it. So let's start with rare champions, guys, because there are quite a few that are actually pretty interesting. And yes, you could potentially find a few different ones that are useful. I actually had more than 5 on my initial list, of course. But the main idea is I try to handpick the best out of them, the ones that will really bring you a lot of value. So if we're gonna start from the very top, let's just go element by element. We only have 5 in the top, we have 6 elements, so one of them will be left out, and the one that's left out is the fire element. Now here, you could make a bit of an argument for Gloin to say that he's a pretty good one. He's definitely not bad, his base attack is not insane. He has double AoEs, which are fairly decent. The multipliers on their own are not that crazy, but he's still a pretty good hero for the fire element. So this is just a shout out to him. I actually don't have him in my top. I prefer to get, for example, Eli. So this champion, guys, he has a much better attack. He only has 1 AoE, but the range on it is better in my opinion. And just generally having the Captain Aura in all battles, that will benefit you even more. So this is from the poison element. The passive, when dealing damage to enemies under poison, additionally deals extra damage, which again, it can be helpful. This attack right here, the battle skill, is a single hit, but gains attack up, which if you're timing it properly, you will be able to move over to the AoE right here, which has a pretty big range. Shoots 3 waves of bolts in a designated direction, each wave dealing 235% attack. So this will be overall over 700% of his attack, and this skill can deal pretty good damage. So if you are looking for another hero to fill up your team, to make a 5-man team for your poison fire element, and you might not have anything crazy in terms of epics or legendaries, definitely don't sleep on him. Now, of course, it's not going to be a list without the best rare champion in the game, Sigrid. Love this champion to death, guys. Absolutely insane. Now, she does need another champion to kind of like to enable her. I will give you a couple of options in just a second. Accuracy for all battles as a Captain Aura. Then you have the passive, when an enemy inflicted with debuffs dies, the hero gains 25% ultimate energy. Now, the good part about Sigrid, guys, is that she can rotate her ultimate skill so fast that you guys have no idea. I don't think there are many champions in the game that can do what she does, and very good base attack as well. This skill right here shoots 2 toxic arrows at the enemy, so this is a single hit skill. Healing Prohibition, which is very helpful against many bosses and just general in content. And then you have this skill right here. Again, seems like it's a single target, but if you are enabling her, this skill becomes AoE and is a multiplier of 820% attack. And that passive, when you're killing somebody, gaining 25% ultimate energy, my god, you don't even need to actually do the killing, but you're gonna get so much ultimate energy and constantly rotate this skill, okay? And when the enemies are under debuffs, she's going to attack everybody, putting decreased attack and healing reduction on the enemies. Such a beast. I'm using her in so much content, guys. Like, it's crazy. Using her over legendaries, using her over epic champions. Now, once we're gonna get to the epics, I'm gonna give you a couple of very good options to pair with her to activate her skill, basically, and she can do a much better job like this with the ultimate. We're gonna have Voris, we're gonna have Dane, but we're gonna discuss about those champions in just a second. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list, guys, Irena. Probably a lot of you guys tested her out. Another awesome rare champion. You see, she's a support with a 1350 attack, you know, because that's how much attack support champions usually have. The passive, when the hero deals damage to enemies by skills, grants a 10% max shield to the nearest ally for 10 seconds. So maybe she's called a support because of this, you know. This skill right here, guys, the battle skill, with a very good initial recharge time, and it's gonna go down to 6 seconds, which is very good as well for a skill that deals damage. Unleashes chain lightning, dealing 360% attack lightning damage to enemies hit, and it can bounce up to 3 times, which can be very helpful in the goblin and just generally to deal AOE damage. And you have the ultimate skill, deals 710% attack lightning damage to enemies within range, and of course has a chance to put attack penalty and a chance to dispel a buff from them. And fully scrolled is gonna go up to 100% chance. Very awesome champion, man. Like, definitely don't sleep on Irena. Moving over to the next ones. Here they are actually 3 that are very close in my opinion from the Radiance element, and I'm gonna explain you why I picked the one that I picked. So Muler right here is a pretty good one as well. He has a single hit and a double AOE. Consumes rally, gains 300% extra attack damage. So basically, this could be an AOE of 900% attack. Fairly decent base attack as well. Then we have, of course, Kalis, which she looks pretty good. She's range hero. The passive has the chance to spread extra damage to enemies that are in range. Single skill right here that grants attack up to the ally with the highest attack. It could be her or it could be somebody else. She does have 1300 attack. And then the ultimate skill. Pretty good range as well. Deals 750% attack radiant damage to enemies within range. If the hero has a rally when casting, the skill consumes rally and increases the damage dealt by 35%. Now, this is actually something very good, and because of these few things, she is kind of like my favorite. But then we have Ivania. The thing with her, she doesn't need another champion to bring a rally for her, okay? So we have the passive, has 100% chance scroll to grant rally to an ally for 10 seconds when gaining rally. Then the battle skill launches 2 attacks on the enemy, each dealing 180% attack, and scrolled has a 75% chance of gaining rally for 10 seconds. Then, of course, you will move over to your ultimate skill. Deals 645% attack radiant damage to enemies within range. If the hero has rally when casting, the skill consumes rally and increases the damage by 30%. And this range is actually very good as well. And the reason why I prefer her is she does have a pretty good base attack too, but it's basically for the simple fact that she can bring her own rally and you're not dependable of another rally hero. Let's just say you need another damage dealer in your Lightning Radiance team and you want to make the 5-man bonus or the 3-man bonus, but you don't really have a slot for another champion that can just buff rally. That's when she comes in play, in my opinion, you know. And yes, how I mentioned, most probably you're getting more out of Kalis, you know. Even Muler could potentially bring in a more firepower, but the main idea is being able to utilize them alone as well. I feel like it's playing a very important factor. And moving over to the next hero, which again kind of needs a bit of a setup too, but I just cannot drop her out of the list because the damage is just insane. Usha, I still can't pronounce her name properly, but basically Captain Aura, we're gaining HP in dungeon battles. The passive, every second basic attack at an enemy under frost, deals double the damage. This one right here gains attack, shield, and attack speed up for 10 seconds. So basically she buffs a bit. And the ultimate skill slashes forcefully twice, each dealing 400% attack. So basically this is gonna go up to 800% in total because of double hits. And if you are hitting enemies under frost, guys, this will go all the way up to 1600% attack. And she has one of the highest base attacks that we've seen so far on all these rare champions, you know. And this right here does so much work. If you're bringing in a frost hero for her, she's gonna smack the enemies with that AoE, guys. Like, she'll be ramping up some insane numbers. So this will make my top 5 best AoE damage dealers from the rarity. Of course, I added a few extras in here, kind of like gave you a couple of different examples just so you can kind of like keep in mind, have some different options. Now, summoners, guys, unfortunately, nothing really stands out from here either as rare champions. They summon, they don't really do a lot of AoE damage. The summons are pretty squishy, so it's not the best thing. Moving over to epic champions. Let's actually start from the bottom towards the top. From here, Zlot. So this is my most wanted epic champion at the moment, and this can deal a lot of damage. Like, probably you've seen when you're doing Pillars of Trials, maybe even in Arena, you got smacked by this champion because he can deal a lot of damage. 1435 attack. Captain Aura, attack in all battles, 24%. You have the passive. Every 4th basic attack heals the ally with the lowest HP by 300% attack and has a chance to silence the enemy for 5 seconds. Silence is so freaking powerful, guys. Cannot cast battle skills and ultimate. Very, very powerful for Arena. Then you have the battle skill. Deals 300% attack necrotic damage to enemies within range. And of course has a chance to inflict recharge speed penalty. And is an AoE attack. Then you have the ultimate skill with a pretty good range. Summons a prison at a designated location for 5 seconds. Dealing 165% attack necrotic damage to enemies within range every 1 second. For the duration of the prison, with a 35% chance of inflicting fear as well, and heals all allies by 30% attack in the meantime. Each enemy hit by this skill increases the healing by 15%. So this one right here, guys, is such a nasty skill, and not only that this hero can support your team, but it can put in some serious numbers if you're building Zlot right. I cannot wait to get a champion and play around with. I hope that we're gonna get another chest that allows us to pick the epic champion for 99 cents, maybe in the next season or next month, you know. And I'm gonna pick Zlot. If no, hopefully I'm gonna summon the hero in the nearest future. Moving over to the next ones, guys. So Voris again is a support hero, and if you build him right, he's going to deal a lot of damage. Now, Voris has something very, very unique. 1428 attack is something that's on the side. Heals the ally with the lowest HP by 70% attack when dealing damage. This effect will only trigger once when dealing damage to multiple targets. So you want to gain some healing, you need to deal damage with him. The more attack you have on him, the bigger the healing. The battle skill deals 120% attack call damage to the enemy 3 times. So that's quite a bit of damage. And on dealing damage has a chance to dispel a buff from them. Then you have the ultimate skill, which is kind of like the creme de la creme. It covers the entire map. Now this is the ultimate best champion to be paired with Sigrid and combo him so you can enable Sigrid's AoE. And I'm talking about epic champions, guys, because I'm not going to the legendaries, you know, but being able to cover the entire map is absolutely massive. And he's putting buff prohibition, attacking all enemies 3 times, dealing 220% attack cold damage. You can build Voris in quite a few different sets, you know. You can even go on a stun set if you want, but this is something that we're kind of like talking about endgame when you unlock legendary gear and you have some decent sets. You can build him on an executioner set to ignore defense, you know, and that will deal pretty good damage. You have quite a few options, but I'll be doing a different video on the gear sets and how to build your champions in the next few days, guys, so keep an eye for that. Moving over to the next epic champion that we have on the list, and Gituna is a very good example. I just want to give her a shout out because I feel like she deserves it with this very powerful skill right here with the ultimate 700% attack damage, and then you need rally, but basically you're gonna gain 200 extra percent attack damage, which is true damage, ignores defense and everything, a pretty good range as well. And yeah, this can put in some serious work. But the next champion that I'm gonna pick from here, guys, is going to be Martina. Now, if you've spent $1 in Dragonheir Silent Gods, you will receive this champion for free. I mean, next to that $1, depending what you purchased. The things that I like about Martina is that she brings her own rally, and on top of it, she doesn't need crit rate, guys. But I'm gonna explain you why she's so good. Mainly, when you are starting the game and you're getting her, it's gonna be harder for you to build heroes with full crit rate or getting close to full crit rate, you know, and she's a game changer because of that. So with the passive, when gaining rally, the hero recharges ultimate energy by 20%. This effect can only be triggered once every 0.5 seconds. Then you have the battle skill, deals 310% attack radiant damage to surrounding enemies, guarantees a critical hit if 2 or more enemies are hit, and then gains rally for 10 seconds. So it's not questionable. She is gaining it, and the good part here is that if you're putting her in the right team, she's always going to be at the front of the line. She's a melee hero. She will definitely smack 2 enemies and guarantee that this attack is critical. So high attack, high crit damage on her. And yes, an executioner set would be the best option for you guys because you will ignore defense. Ignoring defense is very powerful, especially if you don't have Witch's Remains to land the defense down. The ultimate skill, again, deals 680% attack radiant damage to enemies within range. If the hero has rally when unleashing the skill, it consumes rallies and it guarantees to deal critical hit and ignores 40% of the enemy's defense. Such a powerful skill right here, guys. And I'm not using her much this season because I don't have a rally team set up, but I used her so much in the beta, guys. She was like kind of like my main champion for the Goblin, and I had a radiant team before, but I don't have that at the moment. I mean, I actually started building one, but I managed to have some legendaries. I still might use her if needed as an extra DPS. Moving over to the next champion that we have on the list, guys, and it's gonna be no one else but Horus. Now here as well, there were quite a few different options. Shink, fairly decent. You do have Lola, which is kind of like more of a support, but she does have a nice ultimate AOE skill with attack down, which can be nice. But I'm looking at heroes that have multiple AOEs, you know, heroes that could potentially bring in more damage. And Horus right here is definitely one of them because he has a Captain Aura that gives him enlightenment, that helps the poisoners, you know. When the hero deals damage to an enemy under poison, every stack of poisons on the target increases the crit rate of this damage, which can be a bit helpful. Now, don't expect to have anything insane, but if you're gaining 5-10% extra crit rate, it's definitely going to help you quite a bit. Then you have the battle skill. Very good range. That's one of the main things why I actually went with him. Hurls a poison bomb at the target, dealing 340% attack poison damage to enemies within target center range, with a 50% chance of inflicting 3 stacks of poisons, guys. So that's going to be very, very helpful. Then you have the ultimate skill. Again, very good range, similar with the battle skill. Deals 600% attack poison damage to enemies within range. When hitting enemies under poison, triggers poison explosion once. So this will actually be pretty nice. All poisons on the target immediately triggers damage once. So that's going to be very, very beneficial. You're going to get a lot of extra damage. Plus, he's bringing his own poisons. Or you can run a different champion with him that will enable the damage like that, you know. Moving over to the next and final epic champion that we have on the list, guys. Of course, you guessed it, is going to be Alfie. I'm just messing with you. It's gonna be no one else but Dane. I love this champion to that. I'm using him so freaking much, and he is the second best epic enabler for Sigrid, guys, because with the ultimate skill, covers a pretty big map and puts attack penalty. The main thing that I don't like is that attack penalty is the smaller version, but I guess it would be pretty nasty if it would be the bigger version, because he has a 75% chance, scrolled 100% chance, of course, to dispel 2 buffs from enemies within range, dealing 650% attack fire damage. And then, if the target enemies have less than 50% HP, steals all their buffs instead of removing them, which is so nasty, because you might still increase attack, or you might steal some other beneficial buffs. In Arena, you might steal maybe unkillable, you might steal other things that will be very beneficial. The battle skill as well deals 300% attack fire damage to enemies within range. When dealing damage to enemies with HP less than 50%, has a 75% chance to inflict fear for 3 seconds and healing prohibition for 5 seconds, which again, very helpful. You have the passive: when the hero deals damage to enemies with less than 50% HP by skills, recharges ultimate energy by 15%. The effect can only be triggered once every 5 seconds, and the Captain Aura is for the City of Trials. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think that some other rares or epic champions should make top 5 instead of some that we actually named already. And let me know in the comments down below how many of you guys are already using some of these champions that we mentioned, and how you like them so far. Which one is your most favorite out of all of them? Now, talking about legendaries, guys, there are really a lot of strong AOE champions in here, and I'll be honest, I find it hard to just pick 5 out of them because there are too many, and I need to do a separate video for the legendaries, and we're gonna do quite a few on legendaries because I haven't covered it that much, and I feel like, how I mentioned, hopefully most of you guys managed to pull 1 or 2 legendaries so far. If no, slowly and surely they'll be coming. But that was all for this video, guys. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.